Welcome back to Daily Chit-chat. Today we're talking about something we all touch, probably too much.
Your phone.
Exactly. Not in a phones are bad way, just how we actually use them every day.
Yeah, because when people say, I'm on my phone a lot, that could mean so many different things.
And most of the time, we're not even sure what we're doing on it.
Let's start with the morning. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Honestly, I check my phone before I even fully open my eyes.
Same. And I always tell myself I'm just checking the time.
Right, just the time. And then suddenly you're reading messages, scrolling headlines, checking notifications.
And 10 minutes disappear.
Sometimes more.
It's funny because we rarely say, I wake up and scroll my phone. We say things like, I just had a look,
A quick check.
which is never actually quick.
I think mornings are when phone use feels the most automatic.
Yeah, there's no decision involved. You don't think, should I use my phone now?
Your hand just knows where it is.
Even before your brain wakes up.
And it's not always social media. Sometimes it's emails, weather, calendar, news.
Or nothing important at all.
Exactly, just scrolling.
I've noticed that sometimes I'm not even interested in what I'm looking at.
Same. It's more like filling a quiet moment.
Like your brain doesn't want silence yet.
Yes, silence feels a bit too empty in the morning.
What about during the day? How does your phone fit into normal daily life?
For me, it's very fragmented. Little moments here and there.
Waiting for the kettle?
Standing in a queue.
Walking somewhere, even if it's just 5 minutes.
Those tiny gaps are when the phone comes out.
And again, we don't say, I use my phone for 3 minutes. We say, I was just killing time.
I think that phrase is interesting. Killing time.
Yeah, because time isn't exactly fighting back.
But it shows how we see those moments. Like they're useless unless we fill them.
And the phone is the easiest filler.
Another thing is notifications. They completely shape how we use our phones.
Definitely. Sometimes you didn't even plan to check your phone.
But it buzzes.
Or lights up.
And suddenly, your attention is gone.
What's funny is, half the time, it's not even important.
But you still look.
Do you ever unlock your phone and then forget why you picked it up?
All the time.
You just stare at the screen like, why am I here?
And then you end up opening something anyway because you're already there.
It's like your phone politely asks, since you're here, would you like to scroll?
I also think phones blur the line between work and rest.
Yes, that's a big one.
Even when you're not working, work is still nearby.
In your pocket.
So you might be relaxing, but part of your brain is still slightly alert.
Like you're never fully off.
But at the same time, phones are genuinely useful.
Absolutely. Maps, messages, notes, reminders.
I don't think the issue is phone use itself.
It's how unconscious it is.
Yes, most of the time we're not choosing to use our phones, we're just responding to them.
And this is all before we even get to evenings.
Which is a whole different story. Yeah, nighttime phone use feels very different from morning use.
Different mood, different reasons.
And probably more honesty, too.
So in the next part, we should talk about how phones fit into evenings and downtime.
Definitely. That's when phones stop being useful tools and become something else.
Comfort, distraction, habit.
Or all three at the same time. So yeah, evenings feel very different.
Completely different energy.
In the morning, phones feel rushed. During the day, they feel practical. But in the evening...
They feel emotional.
Exactly.
I think evenings are when people really notice how much they use their phones.
Because that's when you're supposed to be relaxing.
Right. You tell yourself, okay, work is done.
I can finally rest.
And then you sit down.
And your phone is already in your hand. For me, evenings are when scrolling feels longest.
Same. There's no clear purpose anymore.
You're not checking the weather. You're not replying to something urgent.
You're just there.
Scrolling because it's easy.
I think phones become a kind of background noise at night,
That's a good way to put it.
like the TV used to be.
Yes, even if you're not really watching, it's on.
Your phone does that now.
Do you ever scroll while watching something?
All the time.
So you're not fully watching.
And not fully scrolling.
Just half attention everywhere.
Which somehow feels tiring, even though you're resting.
I've noticed that evening phone use is often about mood.
Yeah, not information, feelings.
You might scroll because you're bored,
Or because you're lonely.
or because you don't want to think.
Or because the day was too full and now everything goes quiet.
That quiet moment after dinner can feel strange.
Yeah, the day finally slows down.
And suddenly your brain goes, so now what?
And the phone answers that question immediately.
I also think evenings are when comparison happens.
Definitely.
You see what other people are doing,
Who's out, who's traveling, who's cooking something amazing.
and you're just on your sofa.
With leftovers.
And suddenly your normal evening feels less exciting.
That's when phone use can quietly affect your mood.
Yeah, without you noticing right away.
You don't think, this is making me feel worse.
You just feel a bit off. Another big evening habit is messaging.
Yes, that's when people catch up.
Friends, family, group chats,
Voice notes, long messages.
or just reacting with emojis.
What's interesting is that evening messages often feel heavier.
How so?
People open up more.
That's true.
You get messages like, today was a lot. I'm so tired. Can I tell you something?
Evenings feel safer for those conversations, but they also take energy.
Yes, emotional energy.
You might want to be a good friend,
But you're already drained.
and your phone keeps that door open,
And then there's the classic one last look before bed.
which is never one last look.
Ever.
It's like saying one more episode.
Bedtime phone use is almost a ritual.
Yes, lights off, phone on.
Scroll a bit, reply to one more message.
Check something completely unnecessary. I think at night, phones are less about connection.
And more about avoiding the day ending.
That's such a good way to say it.
Because when the phone goes down, the day is really over.
And tomorrow starts waiting. But at the same time, phones can be comforting at night.
Absolutely.
Reading something familiar,
Watching short videos.
listening to voices.
It can feel like company.
So again, it's not about phones are bad,
It's about noticing how they fit into our evenings.
what role they play.
Background noise, comfort, distraction.
Sometimes all at once,
And we haven't even talked about weekends yet.
which is a whole different pattern.
Different pace, different expectations.
Yeah, phones behave very differently on weekends.
So in the next part, maybe we talk about that.
Weekends, habits, and how phone use changes when time feels more flexible.
Less structure, more scrolling?
Or sometimes less phone than weekdays.
Interesting question.
Weekends change everything.
Yeah, the phone feels different on weekends.
During the week, your phone has a job.
Alarms, emails, messages.
But on weekends,
It loses a schedule.
time feels softer on weekends.
That's a nice way to say it.
There's no clear start or end,
No, I have to be somewhere at 9.
so phone use spreads out.
I think weekend phone use is more random.
Yes, less purposeful.
You check it, put it down, pick it up again.
Without even noticing. Saturday mornings are interesting.
Very different from weekdays.
No alarm, usually.
Or at least not a stressful one.
And the phone stays in bed longer.
That slow scrolling in bed,
No rush, no guilt.
you're not wasting time.
Because weekends feel like free time anyway. I've noticed I scroll more in short bursts on weekends.
Same.
A few minutes here,
A few minutes there.
while making coffee.
Waiting for something. Phones fill the gaps.
Exactly.
Little empty moments.
And weekends have lots of those. But weekends also have more real-life interruptions.
People, plans, weather,
You might go out
or meet someone.
or just decide to take a walk.
So sometimes phone use actually drops.
Yeah, when you're busy living,
Not busy in a work way.
busy in a human way. I've noticed that when my weekend is full, I barely touch my phone.
Same.
But when it's empty,
The phone steps in. Sunday evenings are a special case.
oh yes,
That strange feeling.
not quite relaxed, not quite stressed.
The weekend is ending mood.
Phones get heavier on Sunday nights.
Emotionally heavier.
You start checking things again.
Calendars, messages.
Work stuff sneaks back in.
Even if you don't open emails,
You think about them,
the phone reminds you that Monday exists.
whether you wanted to or not. I think weekend phone use is very connected to how we feel about time.
That's true.
When time feels open, the phone feels lighter.
When time feels tight, the phone feels heavier. And then there are those lazy afternoons.
My favorite and least favorite.
Same.
You don't want to do much.
But you don't want to scroll forever either.
You scroll a bit,
Get bored.
put the phone down.
Pick it up again 5 minutes later. That cycle feels very modern.
Very.
Not unhappy, not happy.
Just passing time. And phones make passing time very easy.
Too easy sometimes.
You don't have to decide anything.
You don't have to commit. Weekends also change how we feel about replying.
Yes,
Messages feel less urgent.
but also more personal. If someone messages you on a weekend,
It feels like they're reaching into your free time.
which can be nice.
Or annoying.
So again, phones aren't the problem.
They just follow our rhythms.
Work rhythm, weekend rhythm,
Energy rhythm. Which makes me think.
about how automatic all this is.
Exactly.
We don't really choose most of it.
It just happens.
Maybe that's what we should talk about next.
The automatic habits.
The moments we don't even remember checking our phones.
Yeah, the unconscious stuff.
The unconscious moments are the most interesting to me.
The ones you don't remember?
Exactly.
Like opening your phone and thinking, why did I do that?
I sometimes unlock my phone and just stare at the screen.
Same.
No plan,
No purpose.
just habit.
Those tiny moments add up.
Waiting for water to boil.
Standing in line,
Walking from one room to another.
the phone fills the space automatically.
It's almost like our hands reach for it before our brains do.
Muscle memory.
You don't think, I want to check something.
You just check. I think phones have become our pause button.
That's interesting.
Any moment of stillness?
We press pause with our phone. But stillness isn't bad.
No, it's just unfamiliar now.
We don't sit with it very often.
Phones make sure we don't have to.
Do you ever put your phone down and then feel slightly uncomfortable?
Yes.
Like something's missing.
Even though nothing is actually missing, that feeling usually passes.
If you give it a moment.
But most of the time, we don't.
We just pick the phone back up. What's funny is that we rarely remember what we saw.
That's true.
We remember that we scrolled.
But not what we scrolled. It's like eating snacks without tasting them.
Perfect comparison.
Not hungry, not full.
Just occupied. I don't think most people want to stop using their phones.
No.
They just want to feel a bit more present.
A bit more aware. And awareness doesn't mean changing everything.
It just means noticing.
Oh, I'm doing this again.
And that's enough sometimes. Phones are part of everyday life now.
They're not going anywhere.
So it's not about fighting them.
It's about understanding how they fit into our days.
Morning rush,
Daytime practicality.
evening comfort,
Weekend randomness.
and all those tiny moments in between.
The ones we barely notice.
But that shape how our days feel.
So maybe the question isn't, how much do you use your phone?
But when do you reach for it? And what kind of moment that is?
A pause, a habit, a comfort?
Or just something to do with your hands?
That's everyday life now.
Yeah, normal, ordinary,
And honestly,
kinda human.
Thanks for hanging out with us today
This was just a simple chat.
about a very ordinary thing.
Your phone.
If this felt familiar,
You're definitely not alone.
we'll be back with another Daily Chit-chat soon.
Same place, same vibe.
Just talking about everyday life.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.